On behalf of the nearly 3,000 members of the Denver Classroom Teachers Association, congratulations on joining Denver Public Schools. You have made a decision to become a part of a bigger community that cares deeply about every student and about making sure that every student is prepared to succeed in this highly competitive and global economy. Last week, a group of us came together, as you might have seen, to share our personal connections and to identify core values connected to a mission that every child succeeds. As a group, it was identified that integrity, putting the students first, collaboration, equity, accountability, and fun were important. My favorite core value, having fun. One of my dear teachers used to say that the objective of education is not just success. Success is important, but it's really about happiness. It's really about finding something that you're truly passionate about, that you truly care about. It's finding the joy in the work that you do. And I think that all of these values speak to the power of what an education can do for somebody. The other value that resonated with me was the concept of equity and what that really means. When I think about equity, I think about providing access to our students. And when we give them access to an education, it has the potential of changing their world. Education can change an individual's life in very radical ways, and I'm not speaking about myself, but I tend to think about those that came before us. And on a very personal note, I think about my family, and to be precise, I'm thinking about my father, my dad. I think he exemplifies this concept of equity and having access to an education. And for me, it's been a very inspiring story every year, every day. And when I think I have issues, I really won't. So let me briefly tell you about him. He was literally someone that had nothing. Both of his parents were poor farmers. He was one out of 7 siblings. And when he was about 10, 11 years old, his parents informed him that he wasn't going to go to school. And he really wanted to attend school. He really wanted to go to school. So he made a very unusual, I would say, decision at such a young age. He decided to leave the countryside and move to the capital, Lima, where he was from. So there he goes. He went by himself. When he arrived in Lima, he suddenly realized that he didn't know anyone. So here's this little kid wandering in the streets, and he saw this older lady dropping some newspapers. He went quickly and grabbed those newspapers, and luckily for him, or it seems at least, until I tell you the rest of the story, she offered him a place to stay. And then she also offered him to send him to school. So that first year, he was excited. He thought this was a great deal. So he went and worked extremely hard for this lady, selling newspapers. He became really good at it. And at the end of the year, nothing. Then the second year comes in, and he again works extremely hard, does everything he needs to do, and then at the end of the year, nothing. He's not sent to school. So talk about disappointments, right? He was extremely disappointed at that point. And he decides to talk with his family, where he was staying, and tell them that he was going to leave. And this family attempted to bribe him a little bit, so they bought him a brand new sweater, brand new jacket, and they promised him that next year they will send him to school. So he gladly accepted the gifts, and he still left. So what happened is, he decides in that little mind of his, finally he was going to face the world the way it is, right? Not the way it is painted to us, but the way it is. So he decides on 1 year he's going to work really hard selling those newspapers. He's going to save some money, And then the next year, he's going to go to school full-time. You know, he would wake up on those years that he went to school, he would wake up early in the morning to study by the lights of the street lamps, because he didn't have enough money to afford the electricity bill. He just didn't have enough money. But he didn't allow that to stop him. He continued and persevered. And that was something really important to me, you know. When I think, that's something that you take for granted, right? I mean, when you think nowadays, most of you probably think about, well, if I don't have money, I certainly have the credit, and it's called deficit spending. Most of you have done that. I have done that myself. I do it when, you know, you run short of the money to eat. But those luxuries were not present at that time, you know. So it took him longer, but he managed to finish high school. He finished high school at the top of his class. He also managed to finish the university, and he finished university at the top of his class. So I have a great deal of respect for him and for what an education really can do for somebody. Thinking about this, more than 10 years ago, I started my own work in Denver Public Schools at Henry Heller Elementary School as a 5th grade teacher. Thanks to the support of the faculty, of the teachers, and the principal, I'm still here. I eventually moved on to Columbian Elementary. But I'm still here, just like I shared with you that little story of that little kid that wanted to go to school, that exemplifies equity and access to an education. I honestly and strongly believe that all kids deserve an access to an education. I firmly believe, and I'm passionate, and I think that social justice matters. And also, I think that together, that collaboration piece, will make a tremendous difference for a profession that is so important to a democratic society. Teaching is a job, and you'll find this out. You don't need to tell me, but I'll tell you anyway. Teaching is a job that becomes more difficult as time passes. We're pulled in so many directions. But before you start your own work in Denver Public Schools, I want to give you a metaphor that you can keep coming back to as these details get more and more discreet. A journey like this is like putting, in my mind, an octopus in a box. You get the body and a few tentacles in, and you turn around, and 3 tentacles are waiting wildly about. So you run over and cram those into the box, and turn around to see the parts of the octopus you thought were all taken care of have escaped and are out of the box. In short, as you visualize this, undertaking this journey will certainly be a process that is always needing some new attention to detail. What really matters is the journey and how we grow along the way, and how we always come back to the passion that brought us here in the first place. You are joining a community of decision makers, curriculum experts, policymakers, and policy changers. It is important that you find the support and community that continues to encourage your own journey. I'd like to invite all of you to join the CTA, to join the Club 30. I'm not 30 anymore, but I'm an alumni. And the CTA truly believes that education is a rapidly changing field, and it's imperative that you stay informed. Most importantly, we all know that teaching goes beyond the normal workday. So many times we find ourselves neglecting the social part. So creating a social network provides an opportunity for all of you to relax and have a little fun. Please consider joining the CTA, and thank you very much for everything you'll end up doing for all of the kids in Denver Public Schools. Thank you.